All right, welcome back. I've got a short little film for you tonight. Me catching 3 fish here, and kind of a DIY, do-it-yourself kind of version for you guys that might have small creeks in your areas that have smallmouth in them. In fact, if you have a small creek and it's got some springs that flow into it, it's worth checking out because a lot of these little creeks will have a nice fish. But three fish tonight. A big one at the head of the pool, measured a little over 17, a smaller smallmouth, about 12-incher, and then a rock bass, which is always kind of fun to play around with. But one of the important themes tonight is just an absolutely beautiful early or mid-April day, and we're out here, and just like trout, these smallmouth, they're pretty amazing. They live in beautiful places, and that gives you a real opportunity to get out and enjoy nature and go at it. So I hope this little film will give you a couple ideas and some notions on how to go about this. But more than anything, just grab the rod and fly rod and get going and give it some experimentation and see what happens. All right, so as you can see here, I'm kind of being careful to make sure I don't cloud up and muck up the water, and I'm right here at the head of the pool. And through the years, I've found that more times than not, there's a big fish sitting at the head of this pool. And in case this was the case, and I'm using a little pattern that I tie. It looks like a blunt nose minnow, and it's a very good pattern. And the fish, the water's just now starting to warm up, so the fish are just starting to move up out of the deeper hole that you see here. In fact, it's about a week later than the other film that I put on, and so you can see this is a pretty hefty fish. It's a 17-incher, and caught him right in the top of the snoot, and a lot of fun that way. I've got a 5-weight rod here with a sink tip line. It sinks at about 1.5 inches per second, so I can kind of control and do a lot of line mending and things like that. The other thing you're going to see here is as I go to release this fish, I'm going to take him over to my left and put him back into the pool above me. They don't always cooperate, but often they will. You'll see that this one does. And when I put him back in, I'm going to try to keep him from going downstream back into that pool, doing any throwing off of the other fish. So once again, a nice little start to the very first cast into this pool, and a nice fish. And you can see, in fact, he goes up and hangs out. This next one, then we're in a tight little area. I'm just back casting here and letting the minnow sink that line, take it down and across stream, and you got to have a little patience, because sometimes these fish will follow several feet before they finally get aggressive enough and they're sold on the fly. And when they do that, then it's usually a pretty hearty attack. Like they say, the tug is the drug. I love the feeling when these smallmouth hit, because they really are just trout without spots. They're just beautiful fish. So again, this is just smaller fish, but on this creek you can catch fish like this up and down the pool. A lot of times I go with a 3 or even a 2-weight when they're up in the shallows, and use the same kind of shad minnow pattern. And lastly then here, I just want to show you there how I always kind of clear the pool, and I give some twitches there at the end. So often you'll have fish following, and if you can kind of, I call it clearing the pool, but I retrieve them quite rapidly there at the end. And this is just a rock bass, and not a big one or anything like that, but they also hit very well, and it's kind of fun. So I hope this gives you some ideas. Things are just getting ready to go nuts, and it's going to be a real neat spring once the water warms up, and again, all the beautiful scenery, and just get out there and get going.